Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 14 of the Ski of the Kingdom show. This is our podcast series looking to give more coverage, more awareness and more exposure to all the great things going on in the UK snowsport scene. And for this episode, I'm very luckily joined again by two of the leading industry professionals in the UK snowsport scene. We've got Ian Findlay and Gareth Vogan. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
Always, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a long time since our last episode, so lots to catch up on. Let's kick it off for maybe newcomers to the show or people that haven't seen it before. Give yourself a 30-second roundup of all you do in the industry and what you've got going on at the moment and what's coming up.
Cool. So I'm Gareth Vogan. I'm a snowboard judge, and I also do a lot of coaching as well as marketing for various companies as well. So my focus this year has been on my judging. I've been trying to bump that up a new level. Went out to the Lax Open, which was pretty fun, and I'm sure we'll come on to that soon. And then now starting to do a bit more commentary work. And yeah, that's me summed up.
Awesome. Nice.
Right, thanks. Yeah, great to be back again after the first one in October that we did. Ian Findlay, working as a commentator on a whole variety of winter sports, but mostly freestyle and snowboarding. Covered an awful lot since we last met. Big Air World Cup, snowboarding, ski cross, snowboard cross, half pipe, slopestyle, and some parallel giant slalom as well. So it's been a lot of fun, but very busy.
I was going to say it's kind of a key time this year, and that's kind of all built up to the pinnacle of this winter season with the Winter Olympics. It's been nice to have in the last few weeks, as you say, to have those key events to kind of get a bit of a preview and kind of see what form the athletes are in. What have some of the key kind of moments or key events been for you, Gareth? What have you seen?
For me, it almost started a few weeks back with the Snowmass, the World Cup out in Aspen, and I was commentating with Ian for that one. And that, for me, was probably the start of the build-up towards the Olympics, because straight after that we had the Lax Open, then went into the X Games, and it really started to gather momentum. We started to see a lot of the tricks being thrown by the riders, almost a little bit of a sneak preview of what we can expect in Pyeong-Chang. And I was stoked with it because it seems like it's been going on for years and years. They had the test event last year, and then suddenly it's getting so close and we're nearly there, and I can feel it, and I can't wait for it to start. It's something that I'm absolutely buzzing for.
And kind of any key kind of performances that stood out, people we should expect to be doing well, or any key runs?
Well, I think the big one, we probably start off with the Aspen Snowmass Half Pipe, because that for me was a game changer. Yeah. A name that's been on the scene for years, almost probably longer than I've been alive, almost.
He's older than you.
He is, yeah just about, fortunately, one of the few pros that are. And of course, it's Shaun White. He's been years, I think it's his fourth Olympics now, is it?
He started in Turin, 2006, won the gold, 2006, won the gold in Vancouver, and tried to double up in Sochi with slopestyle as well. And I think, so many people, for me, I think Shaun White is a legend, but for me the hardest thing, the most impressive thing he did was when he went and won gold in slopestyle at the X Games, to make that transition. But to see him, as you're about to go on, and say, do what he did at that World Cup is just unreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. And because he's dipped out the scene for a little bit, and a lot of people said after Sochi, whether he was done, didn't get a medal, didn't do the slopestyle, and it was that the end of the Shaun White era? And then, dead silent for a couple of years, didn't come to the World Cups, the American stuff, and then suddenly comes back to Snowmass with, it was a weird performance because he fell on the first two runs, and he fell on the front five stalefish, which he does week in, week out. That's almost his trademark run. It's been in his run for years, and he was just fell on it both runs, and then suddenly, last rider out the gate in the third run, and he went full Shaun White on us, and he just absolutely laid down.
For people didn't see, kind of tell us a bit kind of about what happened and what the
it was a crazy comp. Aspen Snowmass. So you think Aspen, you think X Games, wasn't the biggest crowd, but the pipe was in beautiful condition. And the event, the contest, just kind of teetered on the first couple of runs. We'd had quite a lot of fallers, then started to step up a little bit, and then on that third and final run, we had Scotty James throw one of the best runs I've ever seen in a contest, and then all that pressure was on Shaun White because of Olympic selection as well, and that's the biggest thing there, and he just did something that was unreal.
Crazy. He opened up with a trick that we don't see a lot in the pipe, the double front 14, and you usually see it right at the end because it's when they've almost got to run together and they just try to squeeze it in, and you never really see it that first hit. And Shaun went out, put it down straight away, huge frontside double 14. It was bonkers.
You could just tell at the start of his run he was on a mission. For me, the really interesting thing, he was so relaxed in the start. He was just chatting with his coach in the start, like, should we do the YOLO flip? And things like it was, and they just, no, you've got the run, you know the run, let's just do it. Because if he delivers on a run, If he executes what he can do, still to this day, there's no one that can touch him.
Yeah, definitely. And it was the YOLO flip, the cab double 14, that injured him back in the summer. It's like 62 stitches.
Yeah, something like that. Massive
to his face.
Injury.
So it's not something we've seen him put in competition yet, but that must have been on the back of his mind as he's dropping into the front double 14, very similar trick, same sort of consequences in that first hit, and then went into the cab double 10, that front 5 stalefish that's just in every run, and then back-to-back 12s to finish off, and it was just, amplitude was on point the whole way down the pipe, which is what the judges are looking for all the way. It's not just about the spin to win stuff, it is who can get the consistent amplitude all the way down. He was 20 foot pretty much for almost every hit, I think.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine any winter sports athlete that has as much pressure on his shoulders. This guy is a movie star, he's a rock star. He is one of the biggest names, not just in snow sports, in action sports. Yeah. And the pressure he was under, he had to make the team. Can you imagine what he's feeling now? Going into these games.
That mental boost, that.
Now, are we going to see him in 4 years' time? You wouldn't. Who knows with Shaun White? Yeah. The condition. It's possible. He is one of the world's best athletes, hands down. He could do it. He could do it. You never know. But realistically, the way the sport's going, it's probably going to be his last games. I think that's fair to say. So he's got a bit of pressure on his shoulders now.
Yeah, and he's not the sort of guy that wants to go out on a 4th or a 5th place. He wants to finish on the win, I think. And he's proved he's gone into the air and style stuff as a businessman rather than a rider, which is quite cool. So it's showing he's thinking about moving forwards, where he's going to go from here. But yeah, as you say, we call it his last games, whether it is or not, but
who knows? Who knows? But it's set that half pipe comp up. For me, this men's half pipe, the women's half pipe as well, it's so many stories. I think snowboard half pipe could be one of the absolute standouts, both in the men's and the women's, because in the women's side with Kelly Clark, Chloe Kim in there, it's so exciting, and the Chinese riders like Zhu Tongkai in there, you just don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see back-to-back 10s. Chloe Kim's definitely going to do that. So the women's comp is set up. The men's comp is set up. And again, the Japanese riders in the men's side are doing things that are, the guys are so young. It's crazy. I really can't wait for that event.
Yeah. Let's bring it back as well, because obviously with a judging point of view, when the riders are doing such great tricks and the standard's so high and so similar, kind of what, with your experience, kind of you've been out and you say with the World Snowboard Federation and these judging courses, what do you think the judges in Pyeong-Chang are looking for?
For pipe, I think it goes back to the amplitude. It's very much almost a classic discipline now. It's been in the Olympics for time and time again. And it's something that I think will probably split a lot of the crowd, because there'll be the whole crowd that does the whole Shaun White should win because he's got the technical tricks, he's gone huge, and because he's Shaun White. Yeah, exactly. And he's got the haters in the industry that'll go towards the Ben Ferguson, who he drops him backside 1, then he does cab double 10 to start with, goes into a switch back 12 further down the pipe, and the back 360. It's a weird run, and it's a run we don't really see from people, and you'll get half the snowboard industry going, that was creative, that was awesome, that should win. And you've got the other side that going, nah, Shaun White, huge, technical, crazy spins. And then I think when you go to the slopestyle, I think is where it's going to really pull a few of the riders that are almost your expectant names, like your Max Perot. I don't think he'll do that well in slopestyle. It's my kind of thinking of it because of the way of his riding style, and I don't think it'll suit the Pyeong-Chang course that we've seen because of that rail section that starts, which I don't know if you've seen it or anyone else has seen it, but it's a crazy rail course. The lines are unreal. There's options for absolute days.
Is it, the kind of thing you want for an Olympics? Do you think something that creates something that unique and creative, something you'd want?
I think it is. It's up there, one of the most unique courses that I've ever seen, and it's really going to reward creativity, but it's going to reward execution of that creativity, and that blends a lot of the skills that should satisfy the sort of traditionalists, but also those that want to see that technical. Don't want to use the word perfection, but they want to see that technical execution of the runs, but it also makes it wide open because there's so many opportunities for things to go wrong on the day, and that could really make things interesting. 3-run final though, so
yeah, plenty of chance. And I think it's going to be the younger riders coming through. Red Gerard is for me probably way up there as one of the riders to watch, because he proved at X Games with the way they had the rail feature set up. He just had his own little line through there, was stylish, had the technical difficulty, and used the features pretty well. Where I think the guys like Chris Cornin and Max might come up short is they tend to use the rails as kickers. So they're doing big gaps on, big gaps off. And I don't think it's something the judges will want to see. This is all my speculation. I haven't actually spoken to them about it yet. But it's something in the past you've seen Max Pro does is big cab 2 gaps, there's big back 2 gaps, but he doesn't use the same sort of switch-ups, the trickery, as it were, we see from the likes of Jamie Nichols, Red Gerard, Carl Mack, etc. And I think that's probably where it's going to split in the slopestyle.
More technicality, more control, more...
Kyle Mack, for me, is a name that not many people outside of that US scene and the core snowboard scene will have heard of, but I think Kyle Mack is going to surprise a lot of people. Yeah. I will not be surprised if Kyle Mack walks away with a medal and it might be gold, because I've watched him ride a few times this year, and he's got that technical execution, and he's smart with his tactics as well. I don't like to talk about the tactics when it comes to a contest riding, but it's the Olympic Games, and the smartest rider on the day might be the one that wins it.
Because he's got the same sort of style that Sage had 4 years ago, which changed the game, and it changed the way people actually ride nowadays. He's got the front double 10, bloody Dracula, which is a double-handed tail grab behind the back. Weird trick, and it's the same sort of thing we saw from Sage with the Holy Grail, which again is all the way back there with the Japan and tail grab. And it's different, and it's something you don't see from the other riders. And I think that might be what the judges look for to separate it from what half the industry call the spin to win, the double corks, triple corks, etc.
I mean, that's really interesting. We kind of talked about before, kind of Henrik Harlow at the last Olympics, with his triple nose butter cork, 1260.
1260 nose butter.
And it didn't even end up on the podium, and it's kind of one of the best tricks in that kind of it. So you think this year creativity is going to be more of an emphasis, it's going to be something more the judges want to see. And
I think that if you're going to win, then you're going to have to be creative on just with the way the course is built. They've got the banked kickers as well, which adds another dimension to it. It's a really exciting looking setup. It's going to make for some great pictures. But at the end of the day, it's whoever lands, a good run is going to. It sounds really simple, but whoever lands a really clean run with enough technical difficulty in it is going to walk away with a medal. We'll see how it plays out on the day. The conditions are going to come into it, and there'll be a few riders that won't have ridden that type of course as well, and it might not suit some of the European riders as much. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this is where we look at the Canadians. They've got one of the biggest lineups, and it's a shame they could only take 4 riders, because they've probably got 7 that are stacked, and you could have 7 Canadians on the podium. Well, there's only 3. But
the way that Seb Toots rides, could really suit him. Obviously, we talked about Max Perot as well. That I think Big Air as well. But it's a shame not to have Darcy Sharp there. Because I think the way that Darcy Sharp rides, he would have loved that track. He is an alternate for the Canadian team, so touch wood, no injuries. But if there are any last-minute changes, Darcy Sharp could come in. And obviously, Danny Davis isn't there either, which for me is a massive shame. He's a man that loves what he does, and it shows. And and it's that type of course that could really, really suit him as well, because it rewards that creativity. It's a really interesting blend of skills that have got to come out on this course. And it's going to be really looking forward to watching the Japanese riders as well, because we just don't know what they're going to do. They are pumping out riders left, right and centre, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, in slope and pipe, both men and women. One name, Kunitake, 15 years old. Seen him for the first time on a Big Air World Cup. Made finals in Beijing, finished 4th in Air and Style Beijing. And he's got all the tools in the locker. And no one's heard of this guy until this. People are talking about him now for sure, but
to go in with no pressure, no expectation.
He's done it. His first World Cup podium was in slope, and now for me, he could grab a medal.
He's starting to show that Marcus Cleveland that we've seen, that's kind of weird, out there. Yeah, he's a completely different topic, but he's starting to do the spins on and the cork falls off the rails, and it's just like, well, actually, he's
taking it to another level.
That's it. And the judges will be watching all the practice to see what the riders are throwing down. They're not going in completely blind, and that's where I think a lot of it comes in, because the judges will be able to see, so this is the line that people have been taking. How are you going to reward that? Because that top feature, or top few features, it's not just rail. There's transitions on one side. There's a complete rail guard, and it's
loads of options, lots there.
Yeah, it's the options that make it interesting. And for us as commentators, we've got to be like. Often you see everyone hitting the same line. I think we're going to have just people everywhere. That's going to make it a better broadcast. I think it's going to make it good. Yeah, because the viewer will sit there and go, why they built all this really nice looking features? Why are they only using this bit? Yeah. But if it's built well and the guys have been out the last couple of weeks making it happen, it's like...
But the good news is they're bringing in the SLS system as well. Yeah. So that viewer that doesn't know snow sports, just to explain, last Olympics it's a score out of 100, and it's just they ditch the top and the bottom score. So it averages out from the 4 judges instead of the 6. SLS really breaks the rundown. So you've got 60% of the scores from your trick judges, which you'll have 2 judges doing 2 features in the zone. So you've got basically 6 judges marking individual features all out of 100, and you've got 2 extra judges that will give you your overall impression, that look at the run as a whole. But it means that the riders, the spectators, the coaches can actually look at the run and go, that's the weak point. That's how did that compare to that trick? And you can literally see on the replay, it'll come up 7.9 for the first trick, 8.2, 5.4, and then you look, actually, what was his third trick? That's where he's not scoring as high as them. So it actually brings that information back to the rider. And it's
so much easier for the viewer at home to understand, because let's be honest, we're talking a different language at times, and it's, if you're not massively into your snowboarding and your free skiing, it's quite hard to see the little subtleties in the runs, and obviously a much bigger audience at the Olympics, and just having that SLS in there, it's disappointing it's not there for free ski. I think it's coming, but it needs to be there for free ski as well. But for the snowboard side, it's going to make it so much easier for you to come in and say, this is where it went wrong, and then explain that and give a why it went wrong and why someone else has scored better. So
it's nice to start to understand the world of judging and obviously the hard work you guys will put in. And I was going to talk, so obviously you've recently been out and had some kind of events proving you've recently been out at the Lax Open. Just tell us a bit kind of how it was, what the experience was like. And
it was an insane trip. I absolutely loved it. The atmosphere there, it was the Lax Open. If there wasn't the Olympics, it would probably be one of the biggest contests on the calendar.
Well, it came from the Burton European Open, didn't it? Back in the day, it was the biggest comp in Europe. Yeah. It's still up there as
and it's a who's who of riders. You look down the start list and you've got everyone. You've got all Norwegians. There's a couple of Canadians missing because they're focused on the Olympics, and you've got that training angle, etc., and not wanting to risk the injuries for the guys that are already there. But it was the last World Cup qualifier as well for the Olympics.
Pressure on, you've got
yes, there's a lot of riders who were out there to try and get the final few slots for the Olympics. We had, depending on your perspective, we had really awesome weather and really terrible weather.
That's true.
Depending on who you are, because it was my first huge contest out there, I was really keen to judge. A couple of the younger judges out there, we were all really, really wanted to get involved and actually get things going and start doing these bigger contests. Some of the riders who already had their World Cup or Olympic positions were pretty happy just to chill and ride the powder, etc. And then you have the ladies like Christy Pryor, who unfortunately she needed she's 32nd, I think, out of they needed to be in the top 30, so is itching for the contest to run. But just the way the weather was, we got so close to the fact we had the TV program start on the final day for women's, and it was literally practice being done. They'd done like the 10-minute reshape. I had the girl in the starter gate. TV had started rolling, the TD's name was up there, our names were up there, clipboards are ready, and then the fog just rolled in. And we waited half an hour, and it's just...
That's the game.
It's part of snowboarding.
Got to accept it. It sucks.
So kind of following you on Instagram as well, kind of seeing your stories and seeing you guys there first thing in the morning, kind of up there, and then it kind of, I guess it's almost nice to see that I guess you're there to do a job at the same time. As soon as the competition was cancelled, you were all out riding the powder, making the most of it, and just I guess coming back to snowboarding's roots and what it's all.
Exactly. Yeah. So we were up at 6 a.m. every day. Usually we waited about 6 hours till about 12 o'clock until they basically called it for the day. They had in the riders' meetings each day, they kind of gave the times as like, this is the last call, this is the last possible chance we can run something today. So we always knew that midday was kind of the end time. Then we go riding, and there's always the complaint in the snowboard industry that the judges are all like old guys who can't snowboard or whatever. But one of the Swiss judges we were with, Guido, is about 40. I don't want to estimate his age in case I go too high. But he
go low. Always go low.
High 20s. Yeah, he's a really young lad.
Very, very, very late 20s.
Yeah, very late. But charged around, probably the hardest out of all the judges. And when the contest was called off, he was itching to ride powder and was hammering through, and I couldn't keep up. Well, I'm English as well, so I'm a dry slope rider. So this powder's a bit...
used to the fresh stuff.
No, it's bristles. Weird. How much do this lean back? It
was also, it was really cool to see, I guess, when we didn't get to see the Lax Open happen, we got to see the X Games, which was, I guess, the preview to know what's going to happen in the Olympics. Loads to talk about. Where to start? I mean, any standout, any things that grabbed your attention, any...
For me, I'd almost go back to the pipe.
We got to go back to pipe.
I think it's one of those, I think it's taken a dip in the past few years, and then suddenly Pipe's come back. Pipe's the sport to watch. Because after Shaun White's score, which was 100, we didn't mention that too much, but that's a really good talking point. But
it's a whole other episode.
We can go for hours on that one.
It's one that's available on the separate subscription.
But as soon as we came out of the booth with Shaun White, we looked at that and were like, wow, that was a contest back in Snowmass. But then we're like, how is he going to do better than that run? And we started talking, and the cab double 10 was almost the weak point. In that run.
He reverted on his first hit as well. And so I said that in the commentary box. I didn't say reverted, but it wasn't. There was areas that could have been cleaned up. Now, as Gaz will say, like there's no such thing necessarily as a perfect run. A score of 100 doesn't mean there's not necessarily any mistakes. It's where the judges had to go in that comp. But just the way that Pipe has been shaping up for the last sort of 18 months is so exciting. Going back to the Fizz Worlds in Sierra Nevada, we were on commentary for that half pipe, and Scotty James and iPod just blew us away on the second and third runs, and you could just feel something was building in the sport. And then Shaun White's come back in. Ben Ferguson is just absolutely sending it as well, totally different style. And then you've got the Japanese guys, Hirano, who's already got an Olympic medal to his name.
Yeah. I think he'll go better this year. Like must be
16, or he was 16, 15, 16 when he got that medal. I think he's on 19, 20 now.
It's more maturity, more. Is it still open? I guess Shaun White's gone and got 100 in his run. Kind of, is it Shaun White and everyone else, or is it still other people? There's battles that are going to be going on, and
I think you've got almost I've lost count. Probably top 4. I think between you've got iPod, Scotty James, Hirano, Shaun White, and then Ben Ferguson probably on the glitches if you're going to go for a top 5. But we had X Games, and Hirano did the run that we thought Shaun might save for the Olympics. So he went out, he did huge backside air, and then it was frontside double cork 14, cab double 14, back front double 12, back double 12.
Back-to-back 14s and back-to-back 12s.
Straight away.
If you'd asked us 6 months ago, if you wrote that down, what's going to win, would this run win Olympic Games? We'd have been like, yep, take our money. We'll bet on that right now. And now we've seen that in X Games. And we're like, okay, has the bar just been raised? But so much of it comes down to conditions on the day. If it's snowing hard, if it's pipes a little icy, because it's been really cold in Pyeong-Chang the past week, it might be a rider that's maybe just a little bit more tactical that might come through. We don't know, and that's the super exciting part of it.
Yeah, but it's not even like Shaun and Hirano in their own little league. Scotty James opens with the back-to-back 12s and then goes a little bit more, more technical with the backside 3. Sounds like a really, really easy trick, but you're just blind the whole way. So it's completely different. And then
but it's the amplitude that he gets on that and his grab throughout that rotation on that back 3 that is making it so difficult. And let's see.
Yeah, I think it's one, and who knows? But for me, Pipe is way open when we come around to Pyeong-Chang.
But then looking into we've talked a lot about the men's side of things. We haven't really talked enough about the women's event. Chloe Kim, as I said earlier, Kelly Clark, Maddie Mastro, Ariel Gold. That US team is just stacked with talent. And Chloe Kim competing in Korea, so much around that. She is a poster girl for the US team, and I just cannot wait to see her get in action in this pipe, because it is, she is the favourite, hands down. It's very different to the men's, so there's a lot of pressure on Chloe Kim, and I think, as I said earlier, I think we'll see those back-to-back 10s from her. If she lands that, she's going to take the gold. But Kelly Clark, who's got an Olympic, she got 2 Olympic golds. She's certainly got 1. Has been around for so long in the sport. Has got the 10 as well, if she can land it. She's pretty good at what she does, so I think she might. Yeah. So there's so much building there. And then the really interesting thing for me on the US side is Hayley Langland's selection, particularly in slope and big air. And I've seen her last season, 2017 season, on the World Cup Tour. And, she's throwing some stuff that is going to take her to the top step of the podium, but she's had injury trouble, hasn't she?
Yeah. And she's that younger rider that might not be as experienced enough, isn't quite as consistent at putting the runs down that we see from Jamie Anderson, who's cool, calm and collected for life itself. And then she started to get the doubles dialed in, but if we're going into slopestyle, for me, there's one name.
There's one name.
Anna Gasser is must be way up there.
What do you kind of predict? And there's lots of sort of saying what she might do, what would you like to see? I guess more than anything, what do you hope that she?
Hard double. Do you think we'll see a double 10?
I think we'll see a very, very good run from Anna Gasser.
Yeah.
I think it'll have 2 doubles in. I think I think she's got the possibility to do 3 doubles. She could do cab, front double 10, cab double underflip, back double 10. Yeah. Whether she'd do that, because your cab double underflip and your cab front 10 are the same rotation, so she'd lose the variety side. But to put the 3 doubles in.
But if she lands that, it's going to be a hard push for anyone to beat her. If she's going to go cab double underflip on the big air, run 1, she's going to go cab double underflip, put herself in finals. She'll do it again in finals.
Yeah, and she's not even just a kicker girl. She's got switch, tail slide 270s out, really stylish on the rails. Sure. So she's got the overall package, and she's got the style element. It's not just spinning and hoping for the best. She gets the grab for all the way through. We saw the back 10 on Instagram, and it was a lovely backside 10.
We were messaging each other. Have you seen she's got this back 10 now? Yeah, all right. Okay, that's just added another little thing to the...
An ever-growing little comment card.
Yeah, but it's also, she is pushing the sport massively. But then again, there's the likes of like Claudia Medlova from, I think she's a Czechoslovakian rider, that in the past 3-4 months has just improved massively. The Japanese rider Fujimori came from snowboard cross. Her only World Cup podium in the FIS World came in snowboard cross. She's got 10s in big air. So Japanese riders pushing it as well. And obviously British athletes with Amy Fuller and Katie Ormerod. And so women's big air, for me, is one I'm really looking forward to seeing as well, because there's been massive progression there. But not just from Anna Gasser, everyone else. Been commentating big airs for 2 years now. I've just seen the level go massively
She's
up.
She's the one to beat, but if someone has a good day, it could...
Yeah,
I think if they're pushing her, then she might even go triple. That's a ballsy statement, but I think the way she's been working it...
It isn't going to be long before we see a triple on the women's side. And, we're talking, in a contest, at some point it might happen at the Games, if we're lucky. But at some point before the end of next season, someone's going to land a triple in World Cup. Or X Games, of course, due to her, not just the FIS World, due to her X Games.
Yeah, because you look at Anna's double, and the way she's been setting them recently, for me, she's setting them faster and faster, opening up a little bit.
She's got so much time at the end of that.
She could
the back 10, I think. She had so much time. I mean, it's going to happen pretty quickly.
And then I think an outside chance for the triple is Katie Ormerod as well. Like, she's got the aerial awareness, I think, and she's got that gymnastical background that will really help that some of the other girls might not have done. So I think maybe moving forwards, maybe not this Games, but I think moving forward she's still only 20.
If you want to win the gold in Beijing in 4 years' time, you're probably going to have to land a triple in women's big air. And that's a big progression. We say it's going to happen in the next year, but it's going to be 1, maybe 2 athletes that are going to do it in contest in the next year. But by the time Beijing comes around, you're probably going to need to have that in your locker.
Yeah. Well, we look at the men. Sochi they were throwing triples, but they were only throwing 1 in a run. Yeah. Billy tried to do his back-to-back triples, which would have been a competition first, and then now, Billy's talking triples. Yeah. So it's unheard of. Like, if you haven't got a triple now, it's a very strange snowboarding world.
It's crazy to think that your triple 14 is a standard trick that you've got to have in your locker if you're serious about competing at X Games, Olympic Games at the top and getting on the podium.
Even we've seen Jamie, who's renowned for spinning flat, and at the Olympics last year last Olympics did cab 14 flat, and it won him so many points because it was so different. And those flat spins are pretty hard. Like, being able to spin.
You see that more on the ski side, particularly in the pipe, the flat spins as well.
And then you got Chris Cornin now doing exactly the same, doing flat 16s, etc. And then it looks like Nichols is working on backside triple 16 from various Instagram stalking, etc. So it's interesting to see his progression to go more towards this kind of staple trick, but the same sort of trick that everyone else is doing. But I think so. We might see Nichols go triple back 16 into that cab 14 or cab 16, and who knows? And then it would be insane. Max Pro's got cab 1800 now as well, so it's the numbers are getting pretty big.
Yeah. That's crazy. So we saw 1800 in ski as well. Ski Big Air X Games has happened as well, so it's all good for
Yeah, I mean
that's an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I mean that was so
weird kind of
weird moves going on there, and I'm quite sure what grab he was trying as well. But obviously Ski Big Air, we're not talking so much about the ski side because we've got a snowboarder here, but represent. We'll get on to ski, but yeah, Ski Big Air is not in the games, which I think is a shame. But I'm pretty sure it will be by the time Beijing comes around. I don't know if something else will get dropped from the program there. Not sure what, but we'll see. But I'm pretty sure Ski Big Air is going to be an Olympic event, and you already see a massive progression there. But on the ski slopestyle, it's open. It is open, and that's I can't call that. You've got a really strong US team, Gus Kenworthy in there, Woodsy, of course, as good and better than anyone on his day. You just don't know how this one's going to play out.
So he's had that little kind of wobble at the end of his X Games run, and somehow, like you said, managed to squat it out and save it, and he's got that there. And I guess Henrik as well, coming off winning both goals at both events. I mean, he's always the presence, strong best.
He's always one to watch, and I think he could sneak through.
You just don't know what Henrik Harlow. He's just loves what he does. You could see that it comes through. It's awesome, and I think a lot of core industry folk would be pretty keen to see Henrik Harlow walk away with Olympic slopestyle gold. But then you go back to the Norwegians. You're talking about Cleveland earlier. You just don't know what Cleveland can do. He's so good. But
he doesn't even know what he can do. He only thinks he's like halfway there.
Yeah, it's frightening. You're going to see a rotation start, with a 2 before long. Yeah. It's scary to think, but we're talking about 1800s. Now people would have laughed us out of the room 10 years ago if we talked about that. So why should we not expect to see see something start with a 2? But I really like the look of Oystein Bratton. He is Mr. Consistent, and last season I think he won just about everything. I'm pretty sure, I'm confident he'll be on the podium. Oscar Vester. So there's a few more Europeans are going to get in there and mix it up with the big names from the US. Looking at the half pipe, men's half pipe as well, you got David Wise in there. He's just coming right. Yeah, Alex Ferreira. Then the French, Kevin Roland.
Solid presence always.
I just love watching. The way that he rides is so. He is Mr. Half Pipe. If you ask me, it's a terrible nickname, isn't it, yeah. Mr. Half Pipe? Yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah, Prince of Pipe. Yeah, half and half now. But he's coming to, like many ways, like Shaun White's coming towards the end of his career, but he's not showing any signs of slowing up. So men's half pipe, you might see Europeans on there. Men's slopestyle, Europeans have got a real good shout. Obviously the Brits, as we said, Woodsy. Izzy Atkin in the women's slopestyle though. That's the one. Yeah, she is riding very technically so good.
I guess from the Brits as well, is there anyone, if you had to pick someone you're kind of hopeful for, who kind of expectations, anything, it's a hard thing to say, but anyone?
Yeah, I think for me, probably looking more towards big air, but possibly slopestyle as well, Rowan Coultas. I think he's got the skills, he's got a huge bag of tricks, he's got the style as well, and I think the fact he's that younger rider in, everyone probably thinks he's there for the experience and trying to get this whole Olympics ready for maybe Beijing and moving forwards. But I think that relaxed nature and almost no pressure, I think we'll really see him throw down on the big stage. Whereas I think Jamie and Billy might have a bit more expectations there, a bit more pressure from the top. Whereas for me, Rowan he proved last year in one of was it Air Style.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, had the tricks and was up there with the big boys, and it was.
He's got it. He's got it in the lock. He wouldn't be going to the games if he didn't. And often the Olympics in so many disciplines throws up some surprises, and like an athlete going in with very little pressure, all the media's elsewhere on Team GB. He goes and stomps his run in qualifying. Could quite easily find himself in finals. If you're in finals, that's it. Anything goes, and as you said, I will not be surprised if, like yourself, if he's in finals.
Exciting times to come. It's only a few days away now. 9th of February, it all kicks off.
Yeah, opening ceremonies on Thursday or Friday. We start
midday.
Yeah.
I was going to say, talk us through kind of what you guys are up to during the games. What are you?
We're
things, but what?
working snowboard, slopestyle, half pipe, big air, and then myself, in addition, ski cross, snowboard cross, ski half pipe, ski slopestyle. So very busy, but we've got Gaz with us for all the snowboard stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll put links to their Instagram handles in the description on screen as now, so you can follow them, see which events they're commentating on, when to tune in, what to watch. But thank you so much again for being here. Thank you for expert opinion. I think everyone's just really, really excited coming for all to get going, and I guess fingers crossed for not to be too biased, but for Team GB, and hope we come back with
absolutely
some good results.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.